Let's first sit in a way that is comfortable and also bring in the intention of relaxing. So this evening, I'm going to use the idea of patience, acceptance as a way of meditation. We have done this before as well, but it's quite a nice way to begin our meditation, especially on a weekday night. Some of us may have had a busy day doing various things, going here and there, stuck in traffic. Yeah, so whatever it is happening, that it is nice to just accept whatever is happening. It is nice to accept this moment for what it is, the way it is, instead of trying to push away the yuckiness of your body or the yuckiness of the mind. You bring up some kindness. Yeah, your body and mind has been working really hard to help you and support you with whatever that is that you needed to do today, isn't it? That is why it is the way it is. It is tired or feeling not so energetic, and whatever it is because it has been working really hard. So bring in that idea of being thankful. Yeah, thankful to your body, thankful for your mind, saying, thank you for helping me today to do what I needed to do. And it is okay if you are feeling tired, feeling discomfort. So as you're bringing up that idea of being thankful to your body, thankful for your mind, with accepting, facing, instead of rejecting what is here. So instead of rejecting and running away from the present moment, if your present moment is a bit yucky, you accept, embrace with kindness, with gratitude, with affection to your body and to your mind. Understanding why it is the way it is. So with this kind of attitude, that idea of patience, acceptance is given prominence in the forefront of our mind. And we are going to just wait here, being alert, being awake to whatever is going on right now. Hold this moment with gentleness and affection. Also notice how your body and mind relaxes when it is being accepted rather than rejected. There is no fighting, no running away. Just happy to be here, understanding causes and conditions of why our present moment is the way it is. As you are settling into this present moment, you can always use the touch sensations of your palms and of your feet to ground yourself to here and now. Just being with the body, giving full attention to the feelings of the body and accepting them with kindness. The right way to be patient and acceptance of this moment has to come with both wisdom and affection. So also allow some affection to come up in your own heart. Affection for your own body and on your own mind. This is really important, even for good health. When you have affection, it is much more healing of the body. You allow the good neurotransmitters to come and help. But when we have fear, rejection, irritation, those kinds of feelings come up. They make things worse in the body, and sicknesses get worse as well. So it is really important to bring a bit of affection as we sit with patience and acceptance as a way of starting this meditation. Check in with your body and mind to see how it is now. If you started with a bit of yuckiness, is it still yucky or is it starting to becoming pleasant? For me, I was also tired. It was a bit yucky, but now starting to becoming a bit more pleasant. When the present moment is pleasant, it is easier to be here. As we are coming close to the end of this meditation, see how you feel now. Look back and see the process of becoming gradually still. How over time the mind states and feelings changed. And all we did was just patiently waiting here, accepting whatever was happening with the affectionate, wise heart. And now I invite you to take 3 long, deep breaths. And at the end of the last one, you can open your eyes and come out of meditation. So I have had a few different topics being suggested over the week and today as well. And I can see that all of them are going to get combined in a nice way, maybe. Let's see how it goes. But the topic that what I might call this talk is how to stay strong during difficult times. Yeah. This seems to be quite a relevant and important topic, isn't it, for our lives, for each and every single one of us. It is important because even though we are constantly trying our very best to control our life, control our environment, control everybody around us, to make things work really well so our life can be nice and easy and good. Have you been successful so far? Sometimes, but we understand that things do happen, and some of these things are completely out of our control, isn't it? Like a pandemic can happen, a war can break, yeah, and we might get sick, and certain things are out of our control, and there's not a lot we can do to try to change things. But how can we maintain our cool, right, when things outside starts to burn? So this is warming you up to what is coming, but I also want to mention to you something that is beautiful that happened today. And today I was invited to speak at the assembly in a Christian school in, I forgot the name of the suburb, but anyway, and it was for year 11 and year 12 students. And what do you think their lives are like? Yeah, stressed with exams, relationships, social things, peer pressure, right? All of those things, even already at that young age, 16, 17, the sufferings in life starts to happen. So actually, they were quite engaging and they were really interested to ask many questions. They asked about karma, they asked about rebirth, they asked about, where you can be born, but they also asked about meditation. So many interesting things, and they are interested, they are keen. And I was on the way back when I was getting a ride back, we were having a discussion with Michael, who'd come all the way from WA to support us, and then saying that in Western Australia, how lucky we have been to have, like we are already, to have so much Dhamma teachings. But this is not certainly the case around the world. There are many, many cities in the world, there is no Dhamma. Even for the Buddhists, it's really hard to find where you can go in person and meet, monastics and practicing people and be together and practice together. Fortunately, there is Zoom and internet to make up the gap, but it's still not the same as you meet and be together in real time. Is that true? Being here feels very different, isn't it? When you sit through Zoom and sit in a room together with everybody in a peaceful place, it's different, but this is very rare in the world. And there are many people who are quite hungry for wisdom, hungry for solutions. Why? Precisely, they have already experienced the unsatisfactoriness, at least to that degree, or sufferings in life, and they're looking and searching for something in their lives. Because when you do not have this beautiful Dhamma, which is like nutriments, which is like really nourishing, without that, our lives would be like malnourishment, right? Quite weak. And that is when we succumb to things. And that is when even small things become really unbearable, let alone the big things, right? So it is really important for us to learn how to become strong, how to develop that resilience in the right way. And these days I like to call it like mental immunity. Yeah, we've been talking about vaccination. Everybody's so familiar after COVID about getting vaccines. But vaccinations for the mind, for all these mental diseases, because that is where the suffering is coming from, right? Even when there is physical suffering, even when there is sickness in the body, and this is coming from a sutta, directly from a sutta. This is about the sutta about the two arrows, yeah? So first arrow is like getting sick and having physical pain. And what happens to us when we have physical pain? We take another arrow and poke ourselves. So the second arrow. And what is the second arrow? Worrying about things, right? Am I going to lose my leg? Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to die? Am I going to have so much pain? Am I going to get better? Who's going to look after me? All kinds of things. They're crazy. Sometimes you've only injured your little finger or something like this, but our proliferation goes way over the top and we start worrying, right? And that is when the pain becomes really unbearable. And even in the medical, even in the first aid, it is known, right? If you see somebody like bleeding really heavy, they say don't show your shock and don't tell them what's going on, because when they hear that, when they go into shock, things become much more difficult to even deal with. So they say, oh, it's nothing, don't worry about it, is what you're supposed to say, because when the second arrow comes, really it becomes unbearable. But we are very good at putting and poking ourselves with this second arrow. So it is really important to see these things, what we do. But whatever it is, we have all experienced these difficulties in life, right? Whether it is about sickness, whether it is coming from difficult people in our lives, whether it is because of loss of somebody or being separated from your loved ones or having to be united with things you don't like, everything that is in the first noble truth, right? All of these things lead to difficulty and problem. And again, in a really beautiful sutta, I believe it is the Upanishad Sutta. There are a few different Upanishad Suttas, and this one I'm referring to is in the Nidana Samyutta, that is the book, chapter 12 in Samyutta Nikaya. And in that sutta, it shows when people have suffering, not in the sutta, but the cause of what happens when we have suffering, faith comes about. So you wonder, how can faith arise from suffering, right? Because that's kind of really strange to hear in that sutta. If you look up, it's about a proximate cause for arising of various different things. Maybe it's a good time for me to actually read the sutta so that you get a reading as well, and then maybe I'll stop at that point and go further. So this is in Samyutta Nikaya 1223, Sutta number 23, proximate cause. So let me read the sutta first. So at Savatthi, the Buddha says, Bhikkhus, I say that the destruction of the taints is for one who knows and sees, not for one who does not know and see. For one who knows what, for one who sees what, does the destruction of the taints come about. Such is form, such its origin, such its passing away, such is feeling, such is perception, such are volitional formations, such are consciousness, such its origin, such its passing away. It is for one who knows thus, for one who sees thus, that the destruction of taints come about. And then the Buddha says, I say, bhikkhus, that the knowledge of destruction in regard to destruction has a proximate cause. It does not lack a proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause for the knowledge of destruction? It should be said, liberation. I say, bhikkhus, that liberation too has a proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause for liberation? It should be said, dispassion. This is nibbida. I say, bhikkhus, that dispassion too has a proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause for dispassion? It should be said, revulsion. And the revulsion also has a proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause for that? It is Yatha Bhuta Jnana Darsana, and that is the knowledge and vision of things as they really are. I say, bhikkhus, that the knowledge and vision of things as they really are too has a proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause for that? Proximate cause for that is stillness or samadhi. I say, bhikkhus, that concentration or stillness or samadhi too has a proximate cause and does not lack a proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause for that? And that is happiness, that is sukha. Sukhino chittang samadhyati, right? And then sukha too has a proximate cause, and that is tranquility, that is kaya passaddhi. And kaya passaddhi or sukha also has a proximate cause, and the proximate cause for that is piti, rapture. And rapture too has a proximate cause. The proximate cause for that is gladness, pamoja. And gladness too has a proximate cause, and the proximate cause for that is faith, shraddha. I say, bhikkhus, that faith too has a proximate cause, and it is not lacking a proximate cause. And what is the proximate cause for faith? It should be said, suffering. So this is a kind of a very interesting sequence, a little bit different to what we normally hear this sequence in. So suffering leads to faith, faith leading to gladness, gladness leading to rapture, rapture leading to tranquility, tranquility leading to happiness, happiness leading to concentration, concentration or samadhi or stillness leading to seeing things for what they are. When you see things for what they are, disenchantment happens. When disenchantment happens, the mind is liberated. And when the mind is liberated, that is when knowledge and vision has arise and you are fully enlightened. So this is showing how you get all the way, but it is starting from suffering. It is interesting, isn't it? How suffering gives rise to faith. So in another sutta, and in quite a few different places, the Buddha says, when we suddenly realize that there is suffering in the world, because sometimes we don't even have the awareness of that, right? We are just in the darkness, suffering and causing more suffering to ourselves by trying to look for a solution as well. I'm sure we have all done that. But when we really wake up and really realize that there is something going on, or when there is suffering happening, and a normal worldling, an unenlightened being, all what they know as they search is to go into the sensual world, right? So when we are suffering, what do you normally do? Eat ice cream, eat chocolate, go to a movie, start going shopping, all these kinds of escapes, right? Related to the sensual world. What do you reap again? More trouble if you're diabetic. Really serious problem. And it's bad for your finances, and you weary yourself. And sometimes people go to the pub as well, isn't it, and get drunk, all kinds of unskillful things. But when people are suffering, they don't know what to do, right? They don't know what to do. They are running around. This is called sammoha vepakka, and that is they are going around. Because there is like delusion, and they're searching because of the darkness, because of the suffering, because of the ignorance. They can't see what's going on. They're searching. Who is going to help me, even by way of a word, by way of some support? Who can help me? So they constantly run around looking for things. And sometimes, as you're suffering, as you're looking for things, you come across some good teachings. You sometimes come across wise people, right? And then when that happens, when you meet a wise person, when you meet some wise advice, some wisdom practices, if you come to hear about these things, suddenly you realize, wow, these things are quite helpful. So you try to sort of apply these things, and you see actually they work, like the way that you train your mind, the way you build up your strength, or how you build up perceptions and things like that. These are all the different wisdom trainings that's available to us, especially in Buddhist teachings as well as in other teachings as well. Then you get confidence, right? You build up some confidence based on your experience, not just in a blind way, but you take it on board, you apply it because you're suffering. And if your suffering becomes lesser, or if the suffering subsides completely, you realize, wow, these things are helpful. So that is how, kind of, from starting from suffering, when you start searching for help, if you do come across these beautiful teachings, then you gain confidence. Yeah. So once you have confidence, if you actually look in like a sutta like Avijja Sutta, which is in Anguttara Nikaya 1061, you can see once you have confidence, then you actually do yoniso manasikara, that is wise attention. And wise attention leads to sati sampajanya, mindfulness and clear comprehension. And then the sequence goes forward. And in this particular sutta, the one that I read out, it skips many steps that are there between those things. But it is, you can see, it's very nice for you to actually sometimes compare these suttas, and then it is actually really insightful to see how all of these things work. So next time, try and look at the Avijja Sutta and also Upanishad Sutta. They are very similar sequences, but there are slight differences at the beginning, and see how that works out. And when you sort of have that aha moment, that is when you really understand how these things work in our mind and how to apply this. So I leave that for your homework because the Buddha said, yeah, mental investigation is really important for the right view to get established. So that is why I'm bringing that up. But in this sutta, and you can see how when you have confidence, when you have lived your life in a good way, when you take up the practices, starting from good sila, yeah, virtue, that brings joy, yeah. And when you have good sila, you also don't have much regrets and remorse in your mind, and that is how gladness come about, from confidence. Because in this sutta, from faith, it leads to gladness. So there are a few other steps given. If you can't understand how faith lead to gladness, look up Avijja Sutta, which I have spoken about in a previous Dhamma talk at some point. But anyway, I also just did mention briefly now how that happens. So you can see how even you have difficulties in life, don't get disheartened. Yeah, sometimes this is what makes you stronger. Yeah, difficult times in life, if you have the right attitude towards these things, it can be very useful, insightful. It might even get you enlightened. Yeah. Sometimes when things are difficult, that is when in that search, people are really inspired and motivated to, do something with their life. They realize, living life heedlessly. When things are going really well, people sometimes live life very heedlessly. Yeah, going on parties, having a good time, forget that there is a big problem. What is our biggest problem, really? Yeah, what are the biggest sufferings in our life? Old age, sickness, and death. Yeah, these are the most inevitable problems. We might think, well, I have other problems that are much more, but really, some of those things you can find solutions in much easier way. But this old age, sickness, and death, well, enlightenment, ending rebirth is the only solution. So that is a much more serious form of suffering which we don't recognize. But whatever it is, when we are motivated, when we see suffering in life, that actually makes you to want to do the practice. So don't get disheartened. In fact, see, wow, good opportunity for me to actually do something useful with my life. So if you have that kind of attitude, you're going to go a long way starting from suffering. And as the sutta said, you have the potential to go all the way to full enlightenment. So suffering and difficult times are not necessarily bad. Even good or bad, you can't avoid them. They're going to come at you. So receive them with good attitude. Yeah, that's the starting point. Receive the difficulties, the sufferings in your life with a good attitude as a way of using them to grow and become stronger in our practice. So the entire Buddhist path, all of these teachings are related to this topic. So I have to pick one or two things for today's talk. So there are a couple of different things, and one of the things that I would like to talk about probably is how to become like how do you maintain cool, like a stable mind when things are difficult. So this is important, right? So I'm going to probably use another sutta. This is called the Indriya Bhavana Sutta. This is the last sutta in the middle length discourses. It's 152. And in that sutta, the Buddha says, when we have an experience of sight, so as a result of experience of sight, our sufferings and difficulties are born sometimes, right? We see something that is difficult. Sometimes as a result of what we hear, our sufferings are born. And I think this is much more common. You are minding your day, going about peacefully, and somebody says something that is difficult, and that is the end of your peace and happiness, right? And the difficulty begins there. So same with taste, smells, touches, and feelings. This can happen. So when these things happen, the Buddha says, what is the way that somebody who's practicing this development of the faculties, yeah, Indriya Bhavana, it's a type of meditation. And that is to just see when something happens, how does it happen? Yeah, it is when you give attention to that sight, yeah, attention to the whatever is in front of you. As you give attention, contact happen, right? You contact that thing. And as a result of that, you have an experience of sight. And then your mind comes in and you perceives it and gives some information about whether it's good or bad, right or wrong, gives you many different viewpoints. And based on that, based on those judgments and things, either suffering or happiness happens as a result. But when that contact changes, yeah, when your attention goes to something else, yeah, when that contact ends, that feeling ends. But our problem is we don't want to let it go. So we bring it up with our memory. Yeah, we bring it up and we chew and munch on old food, so to speak. Yeah, that is when we keep up that experience in our mind and suffer more. But if you really look at it, when that experience of sight ended, when your attention went into maybe hearing, that has finished. So the Buddha says, if you can bring attention to this fact and notice how feelings arise from contact, and when the contact ends, the feeling is ended. So when we see you finally come, when you keep doing that throughout your day, throughout to your various experiences, it becomes a view. Yeah, slowly, you realize, okay, it's only this much. That idea of all of these things, whatever it is, how difficult it is, how painful it is, it's only this much, and it only lasts this long. Isn't that true? It never lasts forever, right? We've had so many different difficulties, so much difficult pains in the past. Where is it now? Right now, they are not here. You might have other things, but they're new things, yeah? But sometimes we are very, very skillful bringing up things from 20 years ago and still suffer now. But we don't need to do that, yeah? So this is important to remember. So this idea of our suffering, it's a feeling, right? It's a one kind of feeling. And it is born as long as when we have the contact. So our mental contact, that is where the problem is, of the memories. And not letting that go is our problem. But once we realize what we are doing and how we are just causing ourselves much more problem than what is really there, yeah, then it becomes possible for us to do something a bit more skillful. But this has to become a view. Yeah, you have to really get convinced. You have to sort of internalize this yourself. Because when I'm saying this, you will shake your head and agree with me and agree with the Buddha, because you know that it is true. The very easy way to show this is like just remembering, if you are into watching cricket, for example, or some kind of sport, and if your team is playing, and it is almost your team is kind of winning, towards the end of the game, you're fully engrossed in watching and hearing, right? And even if somebody comes and asks you to come for dinner, or even somebody screaming in pain, sometimes you won't hear that because your full attention is onto that. Yeah, this is how it is. But once that is taken away, and once you realize, oh my goodness, your child has fallen down or something, then your attention goes to that and you start worrying or sad or whatever, then the game is forgotten. Yeah, so just when the attention is gone, it's finished. So certain times when it's taken over by another much more stronger one, you've done it naturally. But other times, we are very good at keeping certain things. Even unpleasant things, we like to indulge in them. Indulge is the right word, actually. We like to indulge in suffering. If you're unsure about it, think about it. Think about why you're still here in samsara. Why we are still here in samsara is precisely because we like to indulge in suffering. So notice what we do to ourselves, yeah, how we um, how we kind of direct our mind in a very unskillful manner. So the Buddha says, instead, give attention to noticing how, these things change. Yeah, nothing lasts forever because contact cannot be kept up constantly. Contact breaks because there are other things happen, other impressions come in, and you get interested and you move on. So when you remember that, when you see that in your life again and again throughout the day, then actually a resilience starts to bring up in your mind. Yeah, you realize, okay, I can handle this. I can wait for this. Yeah, this is where patience and acceptance coming with wisdom. So it is not with gritting your teeth and saying, when is this going to end? I can't bear it, but I have to be patient. And I'm patiently waiting. So this is not patient, right? This is waiting with wanting change, but also with ill will and negativity and all that. That is not called patience. Yeah, patience is coming with wisdom and acceptance. Patience is coming from a cool heart, yeah, not with a hot heart. Patience is coming with a kind heart that has metta, affection. So there is a kanti metta is one of the combinations that come in there. So remember, all we have to do sometimes when things are very difficult is to wait. But wait with wisdom, with understanding when that contact ends, when that attention ends, the feelings end. Yeah. So for some forms of things, and you might think, oh, you have no idea all these ongoing problems of my life, but a lot of it is created in our own mind, fighting things and looking through wrong view. So that is where right view has to come in as well as a way of helping us. But in any case, for many, many occasions, at least, you can see how, if you wait with wisdom, understanding the causality of the arising of these feelings. And when you see that as you wait there, things pass and things move. So you can wait there. However, this is not always easy for us to do. Easy for me to say it. Seems like easy. Yeah. And with simple things, it seems easy. But when things are really quite strong emotions, big things are happening, and if your mind is a bit weak and down and not with enough energy, then it is actually difficult. So you need to know when you can apply which method. So when things are difficult, there is a time that you can wait, but in order to be able to do this method, which is one of the most efficient ways and effective ways, you have to prepare yourself ahead of time. So this is where the entire practice that we do every day for days, weeks, months, and years come into play. Yeah, this is really important. So this is where we build up that joy, yeah, the spiritual joy. This is where our generosity of the heart, our virtue, and all of those things help us. And the way we guard our mind. This is also really important, yeah. A place where we lose a lot of our mental energy is not guarding our mind, yeah, heedlessly thinking about things, especially negative thinking, really tires us out, brings our mental energy down, and then we are already very weak. So that is why sometimes what we call as very difficult things are actually not necessarily very difficult things. They're sometimes, in the big scheme of things, small things, but it feels really big for us when our mind is weak. Yeah, so therefore it is really important understanding that, being there, done that many times, right? We have experienced these things. So it is important to be prepared. So that is why there is no time for us to lose. Yeah, all the time, constantly, we have to try to guard our mind. Catch yourself when it goes down the wrong directions, thinking in negative ways or unwholesome ways or ways that are draining your mental energy. Catch yourself, because you know you can't afford it. Because at a time like that, another thing happens that is out of your control, and then everything is gone. And Then you do things that are unskillful by body, speech, and mind. It's like failure over failure, right? Who has to reap the consequences of that? Me. So this is the problem, isn't it? So therefore, we have to be really motivated to guard ourselves. So this is where sense restraint in the Buddhist path is so critical, so important. Yeah, so very important. And the most important thing that we need to guard is the mind. Yeah, mind. Restraining our mind is so important. And everything else, all the other restraints also come from the mind. Yeah, restraint of the eye, ear, nose, tongue, everything also comes from that mind restraint. But restraining the mind is so important. So that is a very skillful way of preparing yourself to stay strong in difficult times. So I mentioned a couple of things. So that is preliminary work to build up the mental energy. And then how you use your mind, that understanding, the wisdom, the right view coming into place, saying that things are going to change. Things just pass. It's only there while the contact is there. So you are able to accept and wait with wisdom. Yeah, so this is helpful. And another thing that you can do to prepare yourself is metta meditation. Yeah, so that kindness, that affection, bringing up that at times when things are good. Yeah, because suffering is not constantly there in our lives, right? You also have times that you are joyous, you are peaceful, you are happy. Those times also just don't waste that time, messing around doing stupid things. When your mind is at a good place, also make it stronger using metta meditation, because that's the time to do the metta meditation, not when you are angry. When you are angry, it is already too late to be doing the metta meditation. Not when somebody is already screaming at you and you're already worked up and trying, then you're gritting your teeth and say, you be well. And you'll be screaming out, may you be well. But that is not metta at all. That is desperation, frustration. So this is not how you do it, yeah? So you have to do it beforehand, yeah? So this is how you have to prepare for life. If anything that you have to prepare, because we prepare for so many things, right? We prepare for floods, we prepare for cyclones, we prepare a lot for bushfires, we prepare for losing our jobs, so we put money ahead, we have all these things. Even for our health, we have a lot of preparation. But how many of us really prepare for our mental well-being? Yeah, problems with the mental diseases coming in. Yeah, they are contagious. They are the most difficult thing. Yet hardly anybody do this proper preparation, right? So we have to be motivated. We have to be inspired to put in that effort to build up the strength of the mind, starting from joy and a right view. Yeah, and metta meditation, things like this. So once you have this kind of strength, this kind of energy, what I want to say is that it's such a beautiful way of looking at that I use myself when the mind has the strength is I imagine myself when there is like a big flood after like big, the rapids in a river after floods. Yeah, if there was some floods, you can see trees, bicycles, people, cattle, everything sort of going in the river, right? Floating around. It's quite messy, it's quite scary, and it's very fast. So that's like that chaotic, difficult life. Yeah, that is like samsara. And then there is like a rock outcrop in the river. And the rock outcrop is quite solid. It's staying there. It's not moving. And I imagine myself sitting on top of that rock and quite peaceful. Because with understanding, yes, I would like to try and save the people, the dogs, and the things that are getting float, but I know this is now beyond my control, right? But you understand, such is life. Yes, such is life. Such is this samsara. Samsara is kind of unfair. and all these things we have to face in life. This is happening. So accepting with understanding samsara and world for what it is. So once you have that understanding, that right view, when you accept that, you are able to remain cool and wait. And you can wait with compassion. You can wait with compassion for the suffering that is happening for yourself and others. Yeah. Because some of these things are beyond our control. We saw when COVID happens. Yeah. No matter how powerful we are, even the experts in COVID got COVID and died. Yeah, doctors got COVID and they died. And everybody else, whether you were strong, even Olympic athletes died. So you see that these things can be quite out of our control. But if we accept life and samsara for what it is through understanding, then we are able to stay with patience. Yeah, seeing. So these are a couple of different things I said here. So whatever is sort of making sense to you right now, or for your scenario or your kind of difficulty that you're facing right now, you can use, and also where you are at with your mind and mental training and development, the amount of energy that you have, whatever suits you. These are a couple of different things. So one is that understanding of right view to wait patiently. The other one is the idea of bringing up joy, metta, to strengthen your mind. So whatever happens, again, you're able to do it. Yeah. And idea of acceptance and understanding of how long contact remains, that it passes, that it is impermanent, it is transient. So these are a few different ways that you can deal with difficulties. And I also want to just touch on one other subject that somebody asked. This is related. So when suffering is happening, when there is difficulty in life, there are some Buddhists who actually go and pray to the Buddha and ask for help. Right, because when we are suffering, when I said about sammoha vipakka, that's quite a common thing that people do. They want to go and ask for help, and they also, in their desperation, go and ask for help. And this person was asking, can the Buddha help me? But if you know your suttas, if you really understand the teachings, Buddha no longer exists. Yeah, he's extinguished. He's ended everything. So there is nobody there now anymore. So there is no being who used to be the Buddha now existing somewhere else like a God who can help you in that way when you pray for the Buddha. So praying and asking for help isn't the way. But Buddha can help you in the sense he left behind his inheritance, like the beautiful Dhamma teachings, which is what we just shared. I only shared a little bit. Yeah, not a lot. But even that little bit, even from that little bit, if you took a tiny bit out, that can help you to alleviate your suffering. So this is how the Buddha can help you, in the sense you take on board the teachings with confidence and apply it into your life. And then that can help to really alleviate your suffering. Other beings, other people, anybody else cannot help in the same way. And the person was also asking, but are there other beings that can help, like other maybe angels or devas that can help? And that is possible. There are angels, and in the Buddhist cosmology, there are many, many beings that exist. But they too can only do so much, not too much. Yeah, they are also limited. And also, they are not necessarily motivated to help you if you've not been a good person. If you've done terrible things, not keeping your sila and doing all of those things, and then ask the devas for help. I'm not sure whether they'll be having such a big heart. They might sometimes. I'm not sure. You can't be sure. If you want devas to help you, you have to still be good. Yeah, then you have much more chances. And devas do help. There are stories of people who've been saved from accidents and in things like that. Sometimes these things are true. These things happen. Even for monastics, we have heard how the devas can help. And I think I have to save all the Deva stories and all of that for another talk because it's getting late, but maybe it's coming up next. But that can happen, but it's still limited. If you want, in fact, this came up at the time of the Buddha. And if you want to look up Dajagga Sutta, yeah, the Victory Banner Sutta, the four great kings who are devas, they tell people if anything happens, if you have fear, any problem, you can think about us, our Victory Banner, and we can help you. But then the Buddha says, yes, the devas can also help you, but they are still with defilements. And we know the Sakka, the Lord of the Devas, he's already a stream winner. But even if you're a stream winner, you're still not ended, right? You still have a little bit of defilements remaining. So the Buddha says the real place there is help for you is in the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. So this is, check it out for yourself, the Jagga Sutta. I think it's called Victory Banner, maybe in English. And that is where the real help is. So it is going back to the teaching instead of praying and asking for help from somebody else. Be an island to oneself. This is what the Buddha says, yeah? Be your own helper by building up yourself. And it's a gradual path, so be patient with yourself, give yourself time, but put in the right courses, yeah, at the right time. First of all, understand where you are at in life, with your body, with your mind, with the people around you, and then see what can I do to take my next little baby step to strengthen myself. What am I really able to do? And then take little steps like that, yeah? Slowly, slowly taking those little steps, you can see you become stronger, yeah? You're getting that nourishment now coming from the Dhamma, coming from right view. You're becoming slowly stronger, yeah? As you become stronger, it's like, a weak person falling down, getting up, working really hard, limping. We are like that. Most of us are like that. But don't give up. Yeah, you can. So take in that right view. Take in the teachings of the Buddha. And as you nourish yourself with these teachings, you will become stronger and you will be able to stand up and you will be able to face these difficulties. And that will actually help you to grow even stronger. So difficult times, like I said at the beginning of the talk, are sometimes really helpful for us to really build up our spiritual faculties. Yeah, faculty of confidence, faculty of virya, faculty of mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. So this is really helpful. So it's about how we receive these things. What is our attitude towards these things? And in that way, you can remain strong when things are difficult in your life.
I think first of all, we should acknowledge a very beautiful delivery and of the teaching. And we thank you very much for a very outstanding talk. Handamayan Sadhu Karanga Dhamma Se. Sadhu, 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 sadhu.
Yes, Michael.
Just about meditation.
Yeah.
I just find it gives me a feeling of protection from the difficulties of the world, almost a separation.
Absolutely, yeah.
From that. How does that fit in with what that first stage you were talking about, preparation?
Yeah, because I mentioned metta as one way of preparation, right? Because metta gives a lot of strength into the mind in a way. So, but the thing is, metta meditation is still quite an advanced So lots of the people are not yet ready to start metta. Metta comes to a mind that is a little bit more peaceful, because they are Brahma Viharas. So real metta is actually after samadhi. Yeah, it's the jhana states. But you can do still metta, but the real metta comes when the level of defilements in our mind are reducing. So we have to first starting from dana, generosity, yeah, making somebody else happy, all the simple things I always say, like a smile, a little act of kindness, starting from there. Then when you have that much of joy, you are able to take care of your virtue. You can look after how you speak, look after how you do things, so you can take care of your sila. So when your dana and sila is empowering, when you have that good energy, so you don't have much regrets and remorse and defilements. So the defilements then are down. Yeah. So the mind has energy. When the defilements are down in the mind a little bit, that is when you actually are able to really sincerely say, may you be well, and bring up that affection. So even though I mentioned about affection, I know it is not always easy to bring up affection. This is also why I use the word affection instead of metta, because affection is something we relate to. It's some very simple kind of form. It's the root, and in fact, it's actually the real metta. Real metta is a very simple one, and affection is quite close, but we all like affection, right? All the human beings, everywhere in the world, we all want affection. And we know what affection is. So giving and receiving affection is a good starting way of doing that. But we know when our minds have defilements, when the mind is in a negative state, affection is hard. Yeah, so that is why, so it is still gradual. So that is why some people think, oh, I'm so hopeless, I can't even do metta meditation. So it's not hopeless, it's putting in the right conditions. So you build up, even to build up to metta, you need to have a build up. Then that's another stronger level. So when your mind has metta, it's very powerful. Yeah, it is very easy to deal with difficulties, because the way that you wait, the way you are patient is with a cool heart, with a heart with affection and metta in you. So this is the correct way to wait. Because if you are in doubt, look at Kakachupama Sutta, the place where the Buddha says, if somebody is using a two-sided saw and cutting your body piece by piece, if you get angry, then you are not my disciple. And you wonder, my goodness, how can you deal with that, And you haven't even done that. You are innocent. And somebody is doing this to you. It's if you have metta, yeah. You have to have a lot of metta, understanding, right view and metta. They're all connected, yeah. When the mind is developing, metta comes naturally, and it makes it much stronger. So metta certainly is very helpful to build up that resilience. So yeah.
Can I also add something?
Yes,
Also,
please.
metta is you are generating a positive energy field around you. And that positive energy field is actually protecting you from the darts of negativity. Ultimately it's positive and negative. So we are consciously generating positive mind states. And for some people it can be very powerful. It's like a protection. They seemingly can't be harmed.
Yeah, that's protection is the word I would use.
Absolutely.
That's my sense of it. Yes.
That's right. That's right. And we can see it in everyday life that when you have that kind of metta and compassion for everyone, you kind of weave your way through difficult situations, while others, so to say, break easily. We somehow seem to be able to survive and deal with it, and also help others at the same time.
I think you can just see that you have more options.
That's
So an option you didn't know about or see before.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's comforting
Yeah.
that at least you have an alternative.
Yeah.
You could try something else.
Metta meditation is really powerful, and it's a good one that we can actually build up, and it has incredible good benefits at many different levels, even if it is not at the very full powerful level, still, it has incredible amounts of good. It's a whole Dhamma talk itself to talk about benefits of metta and how to develop metta and all those things, but it certainly is very helpful. Yeah.